So just let me introduce the next speaker. And he's Mr. P.V. Sivaram. He's the Vice President of the Automation Industry Association and also CEO of B&R Industrial Automation. He has worked in automation in a number of different sectors, like power, transmission, distribution, power plant automation, and communications. Considerable experience in distributed systems, SCADA, DCS, and microcontroller applications. Mr. Sivaram has worked on software for redundant systems and managed large projects in the public sector and also in the private fields. He has nearly 40 years of working experience and is a graduate in electronics engineering from IIT in Madras. So, Mr. Sivaram, please come up on stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Is that my presentation is slightly different in topic, content, and address from whatever has gone on before this. For one, most of the earlier presentations have focused on large industries, large implementations, large impacts, and so on. We, the Automation Industry Association, are actually aiming to go at the other end of at the bottom of the pyramid and try to create a change in the small industries, in the medium industries, among students, among the talent pool, because without this ecosystem, to achieve all those high and lofty objectives will be rather very difficult. With this kind of a, I don't know, not an introduction but a disclaimer, I want to start off. So the topic today is more specifically to talk on India specific challenges, right? So first of all, who are we? Automation Industry Association is a body which is composed of many of the leading vendors of automation, many of the players. We represent all branches of automation, whether it's electrical, automation, PLCs, servos, whatever, pneumatics, hydraulics, actuators, sensors, all those things. We are more than 40 members, and we have been operating since about 10 years in this country. And we, as I said, one of our focus is really speaking to introduce global practices, best practices to small and medium industries, and to generate a talent pool which is aware of and comfortable with, if not already conversant with, these practices. Because convergence again needs the users also to have these habits in their own work environment, right? So, since morning we are talking about industry. Nobody has thankfully uttered the word 4.0, but now I first break that. But anyhow, we are in transition, and we are in transition not just because there is a technology which is going on around. Of course, it is there, and it is there all over the room, and it is definitely going to change the way we think and do things in 3 to 5 years' time. But yet, even more immediately, there are many other transitions because of political, economical, financial forces which act upon us, which make us to think of better ways of doing the things which we are already doing, right? So one of the things is, of course, the famous Make in India. This Make in India is, on one hand, a very great opportunity, of course, in terms of that we will get many more things made in India. That means many more people will get employment, we will generate more finances, more etc. But at the same time, there is also a little somewhere a thought which may be in more than one mind out here also, that the Make in India will almost not be Make in India by Indian companies. It could also be Make in India by global companies, in which case they will raise the bar on the various things like productivity, price effectiveness, quality, and so on, which the Indian companies, in order to survive, will have to equally compete. And so therefore it is also a challenge. It is not just a boon. Correct? So therefore then what do you want? We want that we should be able to cater to this challenge. To cater to this challenge, to make this make in India, either by whatever companies it may be, it has to be done by the young people. Somebody said demographic dividend. Yes, the digital natives. Yes, the digital natives on one hand are very savvy as far as what they want to consume. They know very well what they need, latest, best. But also that the digital natives also have to make those things. It's not just that they can consume, they also have to make them, and to make them they need a certain set of skills and thought processes which are closely linked to automation. See, automation is not apparent on the surface of it, but the automation is at the bottom of all of this. All this transformation eventually has to be driven by automation, by better automation. Now, what is this better automation in the view of context of India in transition? Yes. One thing is that automation does not always have to be disruptive. It does not have to be something which completely breaks your present imagination. I mean, a driverless car is a fantastic innovation, and sure, Google is rightly famous for it, and it will change the way cars are manufactured, driven, what is transportation, etc. But yet, already today, already since yesterday, already since 5 years, we are all driving cars which are more or less slightly less dependent on the driver's reactions and actions. I mean, a brake system which aids you to do braking properly instead of skidding has been there since quite some time. A cruise control which will help you to maintain a constant speed without continuously interfering in the process has already been there. A wipers which will detect that there is a water rainfall on the screen and therefore will switch on automatically has been there since quite some time. There are many of these small innovations. If you add all of these small innovations, finally you get into that thing called a driverless car. I mean, if you have a parking assistance, is it a driverless car? No. You are still there, but yet a huge tension, a huge responsibility of the driver is reduced. It is helped by a computer, onboard computer. So a driverless car is not just one final step, it is all the steps where you go through, and each step, which step you will take first will depend on your ecosystem. What you can do, what can you absorb, what can your drivers accept, what will your police permit. Correct? Another example, a rather Hottie Eggs example I would say, there is somebody out there near Bombay who manufactures capsules into which you get your pudinhara and stuff like that. They were doing it, and the demand for, not actually pudinhara, but whatever it is, the capsules has been increasing and increasing obviously along with population and along with how many people fall sick. Then they wanted to increase the speed. So then they said one particular process was there, and they said, okay, we will replace it with servo drive because that makes it faster. So they did that, and then once the capsules were coming out faster, then they needed a transport which has to go faster, and when the transport was going faster, then they needed something else, and eventually they ended up with replacing 40 different mechanical couplings with electronically geared servo axis, with the result of which the machine became twice as fast. That means as a factory, if it was producing some 1 million capsules per day, now today produces 2 million capsules within the same place, with less energy, with less noise. Okay? But this journey took 8 years. They did not invest the whole thing in one shot. They did not say we will take a risk, because at every stage there was a combination of electronics, automation, controls and mechanical engineering. And also the workforce had to be convinced that now we are removing this, but fikar mat karo, aapka naukri rahega, etc. There was also social component along with this. And this is a kind of a innovation, this is a kind of a transformation that we feel has to happen in India. Okay. Now, what is it that AIA does? We work with SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. We work with students. We work with institutions. We work to train the people who train people for automation. And at the same time, it is not a venture to push a product of a brand X or a brand Y or something. All the brands, all the bigger people, all the people who are significant in the Indian market are together with us mostly, not everybody, but mostly, let me say. And we want to promote this familiarization of automation to SMEs at the time of deciding whether to use automation, not use automation, how much automation, who can do it, and what is the best way to go about it, like in a kind of a not prescriptive but in a consultative manner. So one of the things is this SME interaction, and for which we participate in several events. One good nice event which is coming up is in September right here in Bangalore, and such of you who are interested and have somehow a stake in the SMEs to be better automated should please participate and help in this. It is not just in any one big factory or anybody else, because in a supply chain obviously automation all along the line will help everybody. We cannot have a top level automotive factory which is fully 100% automated with robots, and the supply chain is all doing everything in a non-automated or a non-integrated fashion. The key is not automation, the key is integration, but how would you achieve that integration without automation? So, if you look at this then the traditional job roles will have to be rethought. There are these pressures. The pressures are known to everybody. We have been talking about it this morning also, that there is the pressure of scale, there is the pressure of quality, there is repeatability, competition is there, new products innovation cycle is becoming shorter and shorter. Energy, of course, is a big pressure. Environment is a consideration. Tracking and tracing of products, not just the product itself, but the process by which the product was made becomes also important. Like 1 year, 1.5 years down the line, somebody will like to know how you actually made this tablet, to what temperature was it exposed when you made it, and whether the today's side effects are due to the wrong process which you used at that time. So these are all important factors, and these become more and more important, more and more prevalent, and rightly so, because ultimately it is at the end of it there is a consumer who is getting affected by this. On a given day when you want to introduce it, it looks like a cost, it looks like a botheration, it looks like a trouble, and maybe even, even like a harassment. But when we think of some of the things which can go wrong, then we understand that this is very, very, very necessary. And this is not just a technology revolution, it is also a social evolution. Yeah? So therefore, let us not very much obsess ourselves with what kind of automation am I using, where am I using it, and so on. Just to see in each process, by using automation, how much can I add value to the manufacturer and to the consumer. And where that value addition is the best, that is where you should use it. And the cost is a word there which is, very, very, where is it? Here. So this cost is not just the input cost of the manufacturing process, it is the social cost. Are you going to remove a person? Are you going to remove many persons? But if you remove a person at the production level, that means a guy who carries a empty box of raw material to the machine and takes back the empty box back to the disposal, and instead of that you produce another job which has more value, which adds more value to the process, then actually you are doing overall a plus. You are moving people up the value chain, and therefore it's a social benefit, it's not a social negative. Yes, there is a cost of how you would make a man today who is, let me say, not qualified to do that job, how will you add to his skills? How will you bring him up? So there is a cost there. The second cost is that if you are going to bring out engineering graduates at the rate of how many? 700,000 per year. And you have to give them, okay, well, I mean, the number keeps increasing. I think our productivity is improving all the time. So, but the point is this, the point is this, that we have to think not of 2016, but we have to think of 2025. And these people should lead meaningful lives, and meaningful lives is not only by having better smartphones, but to be able to do good things with those smartphones. So this is social cost, and this is social investment, which we have to incur. And as on today, I would say that as far as automation is concerned, we are relatively undereducated. We know of many products, because it's available. I mean, Google, Baba tells you everything the moment you put it in there, but you don't know how those things fit together, what meaning does it make, and what danger, benefit or risk consists in having it. I mean, cruise control, I suppose all of you know 3 days ago that huge accident. So everything has certain risks, and then you cannot also in the beginning foresee all the things which can go wrong. You have to do it, and then sometimes you find out, then you have to find mechanisms to improve it, to prevent such things. Yes. And now the next question that comes is that is this thing introduction of automation prerogative of any one particular branch of discipline or humanities or something like that? It is not, because at the bottom of it lies automation is merely a tool, it's another building box. The innovation comes by interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary interaction. By actually, I mean, I suppose the famous statement is there that innovation occurs when prepared minds which are troubled by nearly the same question, meet each other by chance. When two people come together and say, I am searching for a solution for this, and I am searching for a solution for something from a different discipline, they meet, they suddenly find that, okay, we could do like this. Yeah, many great innovations or inventions have happened like that. So we are talking about then a cross-disciplinary platform. Now you are talking about a cross-disciplinary platform, then where is this platform? Where do we meet? You can have a chemical engineers symposium, you can have a pharmacologist symposium, you have an automation or instrumentation engineer symposium, you have a textile industry something, but it is very difficult to come across a place where the cross-disciplinary stuff happens. And when they come, for the first few times, I even cannot imagine what is the language they will talk to in each other. Is there a common language at all? I mean, once I was called, and people keep calling me for some kind of a speech. So somewhere I had gone there, and they were mechanical engineers. I mean, actually teachers of mechanical engineering, and they wanted to. And before me, the guy was talking and said, "Oh, we are teaching automation in our mechanical engineering curriculum." I said, "Oh, great, yeah, it's very good." And he was talking about that they use CAD for making their drawings, and that was for him automation. Okay, I could not disagree. Yes, it is automation. But from where I come, from the word automation, my mind goes off into some other, industrial Ethernets and wireless connectivity and something else. So the language, first of all, there has to be for a discourse. We need a common language, and I think even that today is need. And here I would say that as AIA, we are sitting in a place where we can talk to many people. Why is that so? Automation is not a part of any manufacturing vertical as on today. We go into everybody, right from power industry, from oil and gas to plastics and to everything. So we talk as a community of 100 companies, we talk to everybody. And we know, each one of us knows a little bit of everything. And like the famous 5 blind men of Hindustan, we can describe the elephant eventually. Yes. So I think automation industry can play a role there. And now where can I help as AIA? What is the place? I mean, we can see places everywhere and everywhere. Okay, I mean there are these are things happening in every factory or in every operation. I would say that there is non-reliability, there is danger, there is fatigue. So all these places where of course automation can help, but then in what scale, what level of automation will be a benefit? I mean a microwave oven 25 years ago was there was a lot of negative flack about it, but whereas today no housewife thinks twice about switching it on and putting it away. We have made the device better and we have made the people more comfortable with it. Both the things have happened. Similarly for automation also we have to do that, because you cannot have introduce something somewhere and then immediately there is a lockout and a strike. There are some very peculiar things. I mean, you will not find anywhere else in India. But I mean, if you have sell milk in pouches and there is some guy sitting with a syringe and pulling out milk and putting water into it, so that you get some dirty water instead of milk, it's a health hazard, point one, and point two is it's not something which can be accepted. And it is very unique to India because nowhere else stealing of some 100 ml of milk is worth a full man's full day job. I mean, the amount you can earn out of it will not keep you actually in any other country alive. But yet in India it's possible. So we have to find local solutions for all this. We are having several initiatives, but today I'm going to, one was this SME initiative, small and medium enterprises, to familiarize them with automation, to help them to choose automation, to help them to lose a little fear of automation, share some success stories of automation with them. The other side is for skill building, to develop a talent pool. This talent pool is needed for all manufacturing industries which are going to come up now from any time here, and also very essential for the people who implement supply automation as well. Because new skills are not coming from college, we have to build them. It is rather unfair to expect that out of the college we get a perfect ready-made product which is suitable for even 3 years down the line. That's not going to happen. Yes. So for this, what we have said, since our reach cannot be so big, we all also have our own businesses to run, and our KRAs lie somewhere else with the quarterly results and profit and loss. But yet, so what we said was that we will develop a system where we will have a mother center which will produce products and which will produce course contents and curricula for training of students and for training of trainers. And students here, I mean not just people who are in college, but also maybe people who are working in an industry but who have an intense desire to aspire for better jobs, for upskilling themselves. Or thirdly, that if you are going to bring in a new machine or a process which has a higher technology content in it, that only a fellow who has the belief to be able to handle it will welcome it. The fellow who feels I cannot handle it will get afraid that this is a threat for me. So there is a mother center, and then we want to have community centers spread across geographically, who will take the material from the mother center and devolve it in the local areas in smaller groups and in smaller size. Yes. So this is a kind of a mother center. This is not the way it looks today. I mean, it is a fanciful imagination of future. It exists, yes, but it's not yet a hospital squeaky clean. But it will become. We are fighting for it. Okay. And there are community clusters. Now these community clusters do exist already today, and this is the way they look. These photos are real. These are not an artist's rendition. This is the way it exists, and there is a tremendous enthusiasm and energy from the participants, for the course material as well as taking part in the course. The course material per se is also a very difficult challenge, and we are continuously working to improve it. As on today, all the people who are working on this are part-time, who are doing it by the side of their regular activity. So, and therefore, it's a challenge, but it is happening. And we have built a fairly good roadmap. I mean, since the main council of AIA is composed of the CEOs of various of these companies, we are at one thing we are good at is to build roadmaps and strategy plans. So that we have done in a very good way with color coding. That we have done. The execution part is a very difficult part. So we are struggling there. I mean, I don't go through all this. I mean, if you want, I can share it with you later on. So these are the topics and these are the companies, as I have been saying. So, many of the people who have spoken already today or will be talking further are also inside it. There are some people who are by chance not here today. But as it is a big community, it is quite a powerful community. But this is a topic where our muscles are not yet exercised. So we need to do that. Essentially speaking, the why it is so different, it is not that none of these companies have an in-house training program. We do have training programs which build skills in using our own products. But the thing is to do for somebody which is a vendor neutral, not a focused program, but rather to create for them an overall appreciation of automation. And secondly, more and more of a challenge, because as somebody was just telling me, every production which is going on already has a history. In a greenfield plant, we can talk about all those open and connectivity and this and that and stuff. But in a brownfield plant which is running already since 15 years, and yet I have a need to improve its productivity and connectivity, I need to think differently. How do I integrate controllers of various makes of various generations? I mean, Ethernet, okay, but there were some controllers which had only a serial port, which were programmed only using ladder or even, I don't know, 8085 assembly language. So there are various challenges, and these need a lot of innovative solutions. And to create these innovative solutions is not possible to do it in a central manner. We have to provide the people with the knowledge and send them out and say, now sit there and think, how will I solve this particular problem here? And this is what we wish to do. Now finally, a last challenge, I don't have an answer even here, talent availability versus talent employability. On one hand, of course, our demographic, this thing, we say, okay, whereas the West is aging, we are a younger this thing. So we are in a net exporter of talent to the world. But now, what talent? Talent at the bottom or talent at the top? I would so much like to see that we are a net exporter of patents, that we produce the stuff here and other people buy it from us, than that our people go there and make patents for somebody else. And so every one of you who has a similar thought process can please, we are not asking for money, we are not asking for funds here, we are asking for ideas and maybe some manpower to produce course material, live examples out of your own factories, which will help children to understand how to use automation, why to use automation. This is the need. We thank ARC, we thank the delegates, we thank the sponsors for giving me this. As a penance, I shall not eat a dessert today. Thank you.